happy you're with us here for the Retirement Education Hour. Hi, everyone. Megan Mozak alongside financial instructors Kirk Cassidy and Dr. Paul Metler. They are back in the studio, both from the Retirement Education Foundation. Each and every week, the foundation brings you this program filled with retirement insights, helping you prepare, get more confident for this next stage of life. And throughout our program, as always, we're going to be telling you about courses on retirement planning. These are like master's level courses that the foundation holds at major colleges and universities right in your community. And we want you to be listening for how you can register and reserve your seat. We have a great program coming up for you today. Do you feel like everything's just a little bit louder than normal? Do you feel like there's just a lot of noise out there? Well, if you're getting ready to retire, you probably say, absolutely. There is a lot of information about all things retirement, and sometimes that can get overwhelming. In fact, sometimes it can take us off course, and that's the last thing we want. So we want to talk to Kirk and Paul today about how to filter the noise, and this is all in an effort to help you retire successfully. Kirk and Paul, let's dive right into this. I do want to remind our listeners today, as we get started on our show, that you can always find this program and many others like it in our library, wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can listen at your leisure. We hope you'll do that. Just look for the name of our show. It's Retirement Education Hour. So filtering the noise, when we say that, what exactly do you mean?
Well, Megan, I think one of the many major things that you're able to learn at the 8-hour, almost master level course that we're teaching at most of the major universities in your area now is the ability to help you focus and filter out the noise. And the noise can be a lot of different things. And we're going to talk and we're going to apply it to many different things throughout today's show, whether it's the market, elections, geopolitical issues, but it's also the abundance of information and so-called experts that are telling you what to do and what not to do. And really, the purpose of the class is to help you to identify the things that you need to be concerned about, the things you shouldn't be concerned about, but who is full of you know what, and who's legitimately able to provide and help you plan and execute the best possible retirements for yourself. And so at the core, we thought today would be a great opportunity to help you recognize that a lot of the noise out there is just noise. And so how do you know what to believe? And one of our fears we consistently talk about in our radio shows and our classes, when you get conflicting information, particularly as you age, that often causes you to do nothing, which is also a bad outcome. So that's why the courses are 8 hours and we teach them over 2 evenings or 1 full day. That's why they're really advanced and we get into tax code, we get into income planning, sequence of returns risk. But it's also to help you manage the fact that you should never, ever, ever change your spending patterns based upon short-term market events, based upon short-term election events, based upon short-term geopolitical events, based upon any life events. Shouldn't change your retirement, because when you turn 60 years old, Paul, that's when bad things can medically happen more often, and you might not have the time to wait for a recovery or wait for something to happen. So I think the goal, Paul, today is going to be that we're going to help you recognize the value of the 8-hour class, because the 8-hour class is going to take that noise and make it sound like it's a little corny, be more of a harmony where you can filter what is good information, when you really should be concerned, when you don't need to be concerned. And so it's not as simple as just knowing and being able to filter the noise, but you also have to know how to manage and be prepared for when this noise occurs, why you don't have to change your lifestyle and change your spending patterns based upon a short-term market event. So you really need to attend one of our 8-hour courses that we're teaching at most of the major universities and colleges in your area, and we're streaming live from the universities. So if you'd like to register, go to retirementplanningedu.org. That's retirementplanningedu.org.
Yeah, Kirk, this is a big topic. It's an important topic. And, I think when I was a kid, this was not much of an issue, right? 20, 30 years ago, this was not a problem because there wasn't so much information.
Paul, are you a kid? 40 years ago. Stop. No, just kidding. Go ahead. Just kidding.
What? It was just 20 years ago. Just 20 years ago. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but the point is, Kirk, that, this new phenomenon, we just taught a class, and somebody just said this to me in the middle. They don't know what to believe because every day they're bombarded in their Facebook and their Instagram counts, and they go online, and there's so much information that it's overwhelming and people shut down. I know our listeners can relate to this. So this is why this show is so important, and I really hope it helps people figure out what to listen to and what not to.
I know it will, but I know the importance of the class. And I mean, look, the charity, we're a national charity. We've been teaching, we've taught over 10,000 people live in person at all the different universities that we've taught over the last decade. And hundreds of thousands of people have been impacted and have found to have a better retirement through our podcasts, our webinars, our white papers. We are truly a charity. That is the purpose. Non-bias. Well, we have our own personal bias, of course, but how can we help you to have the best possible retirement with the fewest mistakes? And so we teach you strategies. We teach you how to filter the noise, what information to be focused on, what's going to allow you to have more income, pay less taxes, retire earlier, and have less fear. And then probably the most important, Paul, piece of the class is how do you choose an advisor? How do you choose a team? Your CPA, attorney, and advisors, they should be collaborating. How to find them? How should they get paid? What do the disclosures mean? What do the background checks mean? Where to get the background checks? I think I said this already. How do they get paid? What the importance of a custodian? All the important things so that you can go find the right teams to help you have the best retirement possible. So the noise, the anxiety are all going away. You don't have to worry about the noise. You don't have to worry about short-term events. So please, all we ask is for a $29 donation to the charity, and you can attend our 8-hour courses taught at the University of Michigan, Eastern Michigan University, Michigan State University, Novi and Troy campuses, Oakland University, Columbia College, University of Missouri, more universities to come, and stream live from the universities. If you'd like to attend, go to retirementplanningedu.org or just learn more information about the charity. Go to retirementplanningedu.org. Thanks for listening to the Retirement Education Hour. Be sure to follow or subscribe when listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And now, back to the show.
Today on the program, we're helping you filter out the noise. And boy, you probably thought to yourself, why is it so loud in here? There's just so much information coming at me from all different areas, and it becomes overwhelming if you're trying to think about your retirement. Where in the world do you start? Kirk and Paul, as we look at this topic today, one of the things I know we have to get to is external market noise and what to do about that. I know this can be emotional, can't it?
It's very emotional. Look, the charity teaching classes for over a decade, and we've really penetrated the internet, podcasts. The charity's everywhere, and we are disrupting and frustrating the financial service industry a lot with the comprehensive, advanced education, almost master's level education that we're providing those people within 10 years of retirement through retirement. Part of that is helping people to recognize all the warts associated with the financial service industry and what value they can provide and what values that they don't provide. But it is really important to understand, especially when we're talking about markets and retirement, you need to understand the less money that you spend in retirement, the more money that the financial advisors and the people that are helping you make. So they are incentivized to create fear, doubt, anxiety, create general rules so that you spend less, so that you keep working. Susie Orman came out recently, was quoted as $2 million is like pennies. It's insane. So we are going to talk about how the market and what it does. Short-term market events are irrelevant to what you should spend, when you should retire, if you should go on vacation once you're retired, whether you should do home improvements. It doesn't matter. What we know is the market just goes up over time. And what we know is success in retirement is not adjusting your spending patterns based upon short-term market events or election events or external events at all. And the only way to accomplish that is to effectively map out your income planning and retirement. And I'm being cautious now because every other person on the radio and TV are talking about safe money strategies, income for life, income planning. Those are insurance salespeople. What we teach in the class is how do you effectively asset allocate so that it doesn't matter what the short-term market events occur. You have pivot accounts. You have places to take income from when the market's down, and you have different places you take your income from when the market is up. We don't rebalance our portfolios if the markets are down. We only rebalance portfolios when the market's up. This is specifically only for those within 5 years of retirement through retirement. These rules are different. The strategies are different. It's all different. We can tell you that your relationship with money will change as you age. You'll have more fear. You'll have more anxiety. And they want you to have more fear and anxiety because the more fear and anxiety you have, the less you're going to spend. The data doesn't lie. The data says 2 decades into your retirement, almost when you die, you will still have 80% of the wealth you retired with because you're afraid. And that is intentional by our industry to not give you the tools and the planning, because there's planning. There's ways to bulletproof this, Paul. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, definitely. And I think the point, the key takeaway of something you're saying is the message out there is when the market's volatile, especially when the market's going down, most advisors out there are telling you just spend less if you're in retirement, and then you will have nothing to worry about. And that serves two purposes. One you just said, which is the less you spend, the more they make. The other benefit to the advisory world for you spending less is it means they actually don't have to put in a lot of work to make sure that you can continue the lifestyle you're having and not spend less, because that would require planning. So, they're incentivized to scare you and make you worried when the market is volatile so they can make more money and, sadly, do less work. Obviously, most of you who are listening want to be able to enjoy your retirement no matter what the market is doing. And that's really the goal of the class, is to help people get the information so they can enjoy their retirement regardless of all the noise and the external events around you.
Paul, you said something important. We're going to talk about planning. The key to all this is planning, which you can go to the charity's website and see what a real sample plan looks like and what we teach in the class, so you can go find someone to really do that. Because I can tell you right now, 98 out of 100 listeners right now, you do not have the plan that's going to allow you to spend freely no matter what the market conditions happen, no matter what is going on in retirement. You won't emotionally be able to do it. You won't economically be able to do it. You're going to have to follow that silly, simple 4% rule, and they use a cookie cutter, eMoney, Money Guide Pro, Right Capital software that's doing all the same things, and it's not planning. So we're going to continue talking about how to filter the noise and manage the fear around the markets in the next segment. But if you'd like to register for one of our classes or learn more about the charity, go to retirementplanningedu.org. That's retirementplanningedu.org. Listening from outside Michigan or Missouri? We stream courses live from the university so you can attend anywhere in the country. Go to retirementplanningedu.org. That's retirementplanningedu.org to sign up. And now back to the show.
Today on the show, we're helping you filter the noise, especially when it comes to the markets. There's a lot, the ups and downs. It can seem almost too much for some of us at some point, especially as we get closer to retirement. Kirk and Paul, any other tips and insights on this?
Megan, I wish we had a megaphone that we could go into every single person's home across the country that were within 5 to 10 years of retirement through retirement. we get on these radio shows, podcasts, our TV shows, all the things that we do, and I just jump up and down. I hope people can sense the passion because our industry as a whole is full of junk. They're full of malarkey. They are not all these safe money strategies, these insurance salespeople, all these people now talking about. Do you know that over 50% of the people downloading our educational content around the country is now from financial services people, not you all listeners and people getting prepared for retirement? And they're downloading it so they can learn the messaging we're teaching you to try to give you the right noise, the right information to convince you to buy what they are selling. Listen to us. No one can stock pick or market time. Stop chasing these perceived performance-driven investors. Nothing beats the S&P 500. Investing isn't hard. In retirement, what is difficult is where do I take my income from during the inevitable major market events that you're going to experience, which is 3 to 6 major market events through your retirement you will experience. And it's where do I take my income to manage sequence of returns risk so I can have 6, 7, 8% withdrawal rates. So I don't allow short-term market events to change my spending patterns. Do not wait a minute to go on vacation or to do anything that you planned. External events don't matter. You can navigate through it because over any extended period of time, Paul, the market just goes up. I want to give 2 statistics, and I know that you have a lot that you want to give too. And I hope people are hearing how passionate I am because people are very overconfident right now because we've had the greatest decade in market history and everyone thinks they're experts now. And it's crazy. What I can tell you is historically speaking, when we have major market events, retirees panic. When you're working, you don't panic. But when you're retired, you do. It's because your relationship with money. It's one of the major things we teach you in the class. We know in 2008, over 65% of retirees panicked. We know in COVID, over 35% of people panicked in March, right after the 24 worst days in market history. And they missed the best 51 days in market recovery ever in history. It blew up their retirements. We cannot panic. We can't get in and out of the market, and we can't stock pick our way around market events. That is not the secret to success. And Paul, I think you've got a lot of data points that suggest this as well.
Yeah, no, I do. The data is unbelievable when you think about it. So if you've missed, Kirk, the market's best 10 days, go back 30 years, go back the last 30 years. If you missed just the best 10 days, your returns over that 30-year period would be cut in half. That's 50%. If you miss the best 30 days, your returns will be cut by 83%. Okay, 83%. Here's the thing that people don't understand is that what happens is the market goes down and they panic and they get out. What people don't understand is 78% of the market's best days, 78% of the market's best days occur during a bear market or 2 months of a bull market. So what happens is market crashes. You hear all this noise. The world is ending. We better get out. People get out. And when you get out, that's when the market comes back. There's a reason, Kirk, and I know you know this data. There's a reason why the average investor has had an average return of what was it? Is it the past 30 years? 2.9%?
Last 30 years, yep.
30 years,
Yep.
2.9. Compare that to the S&P is what?
Over 10%.
Over 10%. 2.9% versus 10%. Why is the difference? Because most retail investors are going in and out, and they're going in and out depending on market volatility because that's what the noise is telling them, and they're going out right when the market comes back. And,
So-
at the end of the day, if you think the world is going to end, there's nothing we can do to help you. The key is you can't panic.
The world isn't going to end, and the market just continues to go up over any extended period of time, and we'll always do that. And we will. Now, interesting enough, on average, over the last 20 years, the markets experience a 14% drawdown on average per year. 14. So imagine that volatility. The whole key to this, and we know that many of you did not panic when you were working when someone else was sending you a paycheck. We know that. But we've helped tens of thousands of people in our private practices take care of billions of dollars. We know your behavior when you retire, and the behavior is people instinctually panic. They are going to panic because no one else is sending them a paycheck. And the worst thing you can ever do is sell. You can't sell when your portfolio's down. When the market's down, you can't sell. That means you can't sell for income, you can't sell to rebalance, and you can't sell to try to time it because you are compounding the losses, locking in those losses, and it will take that much more to recover. That is not how you drive success or performance in retirement. So attend one of our 8-hour classes. It's 8 hours because it's like a master's level class, and we'll teach you exactly how to navigate this and to find the right teams that will help you navigate this through retirement. If you'd like to register, go to retirementplanningedu.org. That's retirementplanningedu.org.
Classes are forming now. Go to retirementplanningedu.org to register. Again, that's retirementplanningedu.org. Use the promo code PODCAST to receive 50% off your tuition. And now, back to the show.
I want to get back to the topic at hand today. We're helping you filter the noise when it relates to retirement and your finances, especially as you get closer to retirement. We were focused on the markets, and boy, there's a lot of noise about that. But Kirk and Paul, I want to move into geopolitical events. And how about what's happened recently with a new administration getting ready to take over? What should we know about this type of noise?
You know, it's funny, Megan. So we've recorded hundreds of shows. We've done hundreds of shows and tons of TV shows and podcasts. And while occasionally we will rerun a show, occasionally, you know, the producers and all the people that help us with the shows, help the charity with the show, always are talking about trying to keep the shows evergreen. So you can rerun them and you don't have to record and you don't have to do as many shows live and you can do all this. And it's like, I feel like all we do is we keep getting better at messaging why the charity is so important for people to participate and attend the 8-hour courses. And, you know, when everything, you look at everything, it really comes down to we're selling. Instead of selling you financial products or financial services or insurance products or, you know, portfolio manager, we're trying to convince you, we're trying to sell you the fact that before you go do anything about retirement, before you make any decisions, you buy anything, spend 8 hours and attend an 8-hour class because it will change your retirement. We know that, and we're getting better, and that's why I don't like rerunning any old shows, is because we continue to get better at this, and anyone that's been listening to us for a while probably hears similar messages along the way, but we've gotten more effective. We know that because of the tens of thousands of people now attending the courses and participating. And it's remarkable the support we're getting back because we've changed so many people's life that we are getting so many donations to the charity that we're now able to support and help other important charities related to the aging process. Currently, the Alzheimer's. We're at over $60,000 since over the last 3 months. We started the campaign 3 months ago, and we're going to run it through the end of the year, and we are over $60,000. We'll get over $100,000, right? And so I know you asked me about geopolitical and the noise around political events and the presidencies and things like that. And so I think this is an area where we've gotten a lot better, and it's really helped people to stop engaging in your financial decisions around what is going on geopolitically or presidentially. It doesn't matter who wins the presidency from a market perspective over any long-term period of time. Even if historically the data tells us it doesn't make a difference, but even if there was a short-term thing that an administration did that impacted the markets, there's another administration that's going to come in and change it, and we're going to be okay, and the market just continues to prevail and go up. No matter how many wars we get in, the market continues to prevail and go up. I mean, if you think the end of the world is coming, there's no one that can help you and there's no place to hide, then there's not much we can do. But we have gotten so much better at helping people to recognize your spending decisions, your investing decisions should not be impacted by any geopolitical or presidential events. Those are short-term events. That's not what's going to drive your performance and success in retirement, your freedom and your peace of mind. And you just have to attend the class so you can learn. We'll talk a little bit about it in the last segment, but it's all about how you construct your retirement plans and having the right teams around you, Paul. I think this is an area we've really impacted people.
I agree. I think part of the noise that we hear is determined by the people we hang out with, right? We all tend to, the news we listen to and the friends that we make tend to agree with most of our opinions, right? We watch the news stations that agree with us. We make
confirmation
friends with
bias,
people.
Paul.
Confirmation bias. Yep. Most of our friends tend to see the world the way we do. That's noise in a way. It's a biased noise. And what often happens is the people you are talking to, your friends, your family, the news you listen to, one administration ends up, if you're a Republican and a Democrat ends up in the presidency, all your friends and all the news stations are saying the world's ending. And if you're Republican, the opposite is true. And part of that is because you're not really getting objective information. You're hearing the noise based on people that agree with you. At the end of the day, and there's so much data to say it, if I could throw out a couple pieces of information, if you look at the S&P since 1960, a year following every election, the S&P is up about 10.5%, which is basically what the S&P
Every
is.
election.
Every election, regardless if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you go back the last 70 years, the S&P has grown, for the most part, equal under a Republican and under a Democrat. So if you're one of these people that your friends and the news you're listening to is saying the world's ending, get out of the market, bad, I will tell you it's probably because it's the people you're listening to. At the end of the day, the world's not ending. The market does well no matter who is president. At the end of the day, the president only has so much influence on what happens in the markets. Stop listening to all the noise and stop panicking. I think that's the key message.
Paul, that fear is so powerful for people to sell you crap, to sell you things that you shouldn't have. It's how our industry is able to sell you things and convince you to do things using fear. It's sad. Come to the class so you don't have to be afraid anymore. 8 hours, like a master's level course, so you can then make objective decisions about the teams you're going to go find. We're going to help you choose the teams. If you'd like to register for one of our classes or just learn more about the charity and in some of the education it provides, go to retirementplanningedu.org. That's retirementplanningedu.org. To find our latest white papers and webinars, go to retirementplanningedu.org. That's retirementplanningedu.org. And remember to subscribe or follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. And now back to the show.
Kirk and Paul, I want to get back to this topic. It is a good one. And I want to talk about some of the noise around these simple rules of thumb that we hear. And you say this can be pretty dangerous.
Okay, I'm going to do my best to not hog the entire segment again and not give any time to Paul. But honestly, this segment, literally these simple rules should be a show and can be a show. In fact, I think we've done shows in the past. But we are putting it into the category of noise because it is. And it's very confusing. And it doesn't apply to many of our listeners. It doesn't apply to most of the people who attend our classes. All these simple rules just don't apply. I think it's also helpful to explain to you the motivation. Look, the more simple the rules are, the more scalable of a business the financial service industry can provide you. It's simple, everyone follows, it's easy, it's repeatable, it's cookie cutter. They make the most profit meeting as many of you selling you things than actually doing any real planning. Understand the economics of the financial service industry. So when you think of these simple rules, recognize what the motivation is. Again, the less you spend, the more they make. The less time they spend planning or doing any real advising for you, the more money they make because they can sell and meet more people. So with that in mind, understand that these rules that are designed, the 4% rule, 60-40 rule, conventional wisdom on how and when to take income from which accounts,
Rule of 100.
The rule of 100, protecting your principal. This is all nonsense. These rules were designed for the average baby boomer. The problem is all of you think you're average. That's not an accident. But the reality is the average baby boomer will retire with $200,000 saved, 40% of baby boomers only have Social Security. 40% only have Social Security. And the average is $200,000. So if you are listening to us with 700,000, a million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million, none of these rules apply to you. The 4% rule is garbage. You should be living, if you've got over $1 million, if you've got $1 million more, your retirement income should be 6, 7, 8, or 9% withdrawal rates. Not growth rates. Forget the growth. That's a whole different discussion. Your average rate of returns isn't what's going to drive your performance in retirement. You're going to learn. It's sequence of returns, risks, and taxes. But you got to come to the class to understand that. Just know that 4% rule is garbage. Many of you listening already have what you need to give you the retirement you want. You can already retire, but there is no motivation to convince you to retire because the longer you work, the more you save, the less you spend, the more they make. You see? The 60-40 rule. There is no 60. When are you going to spend the dollars? And I'll tell you how much risk that portfolio should have. If you're spending dollars early, it's different. If you're spending it 10 years from now, it's just buy the index. There's no voodoo here. There's no secret sauce or algorithm. You just buy the S&P 500, 10 plus years. You guys are all focused on the wrong things, following these rules that was designed to make the financial service industry profitable, not you profitable to have the best possible retirement.
You know, Kirk, yeah,
Sorry.
as you're talking, I was thinking about dinner seminars. And I was thinking, I don't know whoever came up with this idea that somehow you're going to learn about retirement planning in a dinner seminar. That's an hour. I mean,
When they're
it's just
selling
like,
you annuities when you're done.
the concept is unbelievable. But you know what? Here's the thing. There are things in life that simple solutions work. Like, there's a time and a place in life that you want things that are simple, right? That make life easy, right? But our attention span in our society is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And there are some things in life that simple solutions don't apply. Listen, retiring is a complex thing. It's complex in terms of it's psychologically complicated, financially complicated. There's healthcare issues. When you think about the idea of retiring, there's so many things that are involved in how to retire. And anybody who thinks that you can, tackle this with something simple, I mean, it's or through a dinner seminar, something you can learn in an hour, in a PowerPoint presentation. It's crazy. There's a reason for it. Because people assume your attention span's small and they want to give you little bits of information because they don't think you can handle complex information. We don't feel that way. We're very confident that you listeners are smart and you can handle complex ideas. And we understand that what's best for you is to tackle this and inform you and give you the education so that you can do your best. And that's not simple. That's complex.
That's why it's an 8-hour education.
Why it's
Almost
8 hours.
Master level.
That's
Paul,
right.
Listen, I'm going to go through real quick. Okay. Bonds are the non-correlated asset to stocks. That simple rule that all I needed to have some bonds and stocks, well, that blew up in 2022, right? The idea that I'm running out of time, but there's so many simple rules that are wrong. By the way, portfolio management in retirement is not where to invest your dollars. Portfolio management in retirement is where do you take your income from when we have bad market events. We don't manage our investments around the market conditions. We manage our income around market conditions, so we don't have to change our lifestyle ever. And we know we're going to have major market events. So listen, come to the class so you can learn advanced rules that apply to someone like you so you can retire earlier, spend more money, pay less taxes, have less fear. All you have to do is make a $29 donation to charity. If you'd like to attend our course, go to retirementplanningedu.org. That's retirementplanningedu.org. Thanks for listening to the Retirement Education Hour. Be sure to follow or subscribe when listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And now back to the show.
Back to this topic, we're filtering the noise today. Kirk and Paul, you say there is one step that you can't miss when it comes to filtering the noise. Tell us about planning.
Well, the secret, the solution to be able to filter the noise throughout retirement as you age and naturally, cognitively, things begin to decline, As you age and no one else is sending you a paycheck, and so therefore you have more fear. We often say this, and we don't mean to offend anyone. We are a charity, but the data suggests, this is the data, the older you get cheap, you don't become cheap, but it appears cheap because you get fearful. As you get fearful, you will spend less. And that is the opposite of freedom. That is the opposite of being able to enjoy your retirement. The foundation of being able to make good decisions, not allow short-term market events to impact your lifestyle, your spending, to not allow an election or a geopolitical event or the noise around you from friends or internet or the people going on TV saying outrageous things like I'd rather die and go to hell than own an annuity, but the third largest division of his company is the annuity division. It is very hard to know who to trust and what to believe. The secret is 8-hour master's level course in a university setting taught specifically for you $700 to $20 million families. That's where you start, 8 hours. So you know who you can trust and who should be building your plans for you. Second is planning. The key to planning is mapping out 30 years, projecting where I'm taking my income from to minimize taxes, and if done effectively, saving hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes without changing your investments. It's just taking income from the right places, filling brackets, not bumping brackets, reducing taxable portion of Social Security, making your dividends and capital gains not taxable in particular years where you can bring your tax bracket low enough. There's all kinds of tax strategies. That's one. Two, income. Where do I take my income from when the market is up? Where do I take my income when the market is down? It's a different place you should be taking your income from. So knowing that markets do go up and go down, and you don't want to change your lifestyle and you want to continue to spend normally equally throughout retirement, then you need to have accounts, what we call pivot accounts, places that you can go to during times of market volatility to take your income from, to take your required minimum distributions fund that you have to take whether you want it or not. But to do that, it has to be mapped out. And someone has to risk mitigate every possible scenario. One spouse, if you're married, passing at 70 or 75 or 80 or 85. What does that mean from an income perspective? I can tell you from a tax perspective, it gets very ugly for a lot of our $1 to $20 million families. Your tax brackets may jump 2 brackets. Your Medicare will jump 4 or 5 IRMA brackets. There's a lot of traps that you can plan for. So you don't have to get scared by the noise. You know if the other spouse dies at 70, 75, 80. You know if there's a long-term care event in your 70s or in your 80s or in your 90s. You know that there are plans in place that's mapping out 30 years of retirement to find the most efficient path to minimize taxes, to mitigate what we call sequence of returns risk. That is the number one risk to your retirement. And if you manage that sequence of returns risk, now you can retire earlier. And you can spend 6, 7, 8, 9% withdrawals out of your investments to live on if you manage the sequence of returns risk, manage the taxes, if you have the education and plan and find the right teams. That is what our class does. Our class is not there to sell you anything. We're a charity. We're there to inform you and help you to understand who are the right types of teams and the wrong types of teams and what your plan should look like. Paul, I don't know how else to convince people to come to this class.
Yeah, no, I think everything you just said, if we can summarize it in by simply saying planning is about risk mitigation. And I think this is true in life, right? If you can identify all the future risks in anything that you do, you will feel more free doing that task. Anything in life. So if your retirement plan has identified all the future risks, whether it's healthcare, taxes, income, legacy, you can go on. If you've identified all the future risks and you've put into place strategies, so if those risks occur, you have a solution, you will enjoy your future like you can't imagine.
The noise is meaningless.
The noise is meaningless. That's right. The antidote to noise is planning.
Paul, all people have to do is make a $29 donation to charity, which right now is going to the Alzheimer's Association, by the way, and attend one of our 8-hour courses taught at most major universities and colleges in your area. 2 evenings, 4 hours per evening, 2 evenings, or 1 full 8 hour. And we stream them live from the university, so wherever you're at in the country, you can attend. Go to retirementplanningedu.org.
Retirement Education Foundation is a fiscally sponsored program of United Charitable, a registered 501c3 public charity. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any insurance discussed in this show is backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Retirement Education Foundation is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Retirement Education Foundation. This radio show is paid for by the Retirement Education Foundation.